The ground shook beneath Commander Elena Vance's armored boots as she descended into the ancient cavern. Her helmet's sensors flickered with strange readings that made no sense to the advanced technology built into her exosuit. The United Earth military had sent her team to investigate the signal that had been broadcasting from beneath the frozen moon of Keltho 7 for over 10,000 years. Now, standing alone in the darkness after losing contact with her squad, she understood why the alien races of the Galactic Council had warned humanity to stay away from this place. The cavern stretched impossibly wide, carved from black stone that seemed to drink in the light from her suit's powerful beams. Strange symbols covered every surface, written in a language that predated the oldest known civilization in the galaxy. Elena's translation software worked overtime, but it could only offer fragments. Words like sleeping and hunger and eternal appeared on her display, none of them bringing comfort to her racing heart. She pressed forward because that was what humans did. The council species had called humanity reckless. They said Earth's children were too young, too foolish, too brave for their own good. They did not understand that bravery was not the absence of fear. Elena felt fear now, cold and sharp in her chest. But she kept walking anyway. The chamber opened before her without warning. Her breath caught in her throat as her lights finally found something other than empty stone. There, in the center of a space large enough to hold a small city, lay a creature beyond anything she had ever imagined. Its body was coiled like a serpent, but it had limbs that ended in claws longer than starship hulls. Its scales were black as the void between stars, and each one seemed to pulse with a faint inner light. The thing was massive, easily the size of a capital ship, and it lay curled around a crystal formation that glowed with soft blue energy. Elena stopped moving. Her training screamed at her to retreat, to call for extraction, to do anything except stand here like a fool. But her legs would not obey. She could only stare at the ancient beast that the universe had apparently forgotten. Then the eyes opened. They were golden, burning with an inner fire that had nothing to do with biology. Those eyes found her immediately, pinning her in place with an intelligence that made her feel like an insect. The creature did not move its body. It did not need to. Those eyes were enough. Elena stumbled backward, her boots scraping against the stone floor. Her hand went to the plasma rifle on her back, but she did not draw it. Some deep instinct told her that weapons would be useless here. This thing was older than the stars themselves. What could human technology do against something that had watched galaxies form and die? The beast's voice filled her mind without sound. It was not speech in any language she knew. It was pure meaning, transferred directly into her thoughts with a weight that made her knees weak. "A small thing," the voice said. "A tiny creature of flesh and metal. You have come to my resting place." Elena forced herself to stand straight. Her legs shook, but she locked her knees and refused to fall. She was a commander of the United Earth military. She had fought in 3 wars and survived encounters with hostile alien species. She would not collapse before this thing, no matter how ancient and powerful it was. "I am Commander Elena Vance," she said, her voice steadier than she expected. "I represent humanity and the planet Earth. We received your signal and came to investigate." The creature's massive head rose from its coiled body. The movement was slow and deliberate, like a mountain deciding to shift position. Those golden eyes studied her with an intensity that made her skin crawl beneath her armor. "Humanity," the voice echoed in her mind. "I do not know this word. I do not know your species. You are not the ones who sealed me here." Elena's training kicked in. She was gathering information, learning about a potential threat. This was familiar ground. Who sealed you here? What are you? The beast made a sound that might have been laughter. It shook the cavern walls and sent loose stones tumbling from the ceiling. Elena held her ground, though her heart pounded so hard she was certain the creature could hear it. "I am Zal Kathir, the devourer of suns. I am older than your galaxy, little creature. I was ancient when the first stars ignited. The ones who imprisoned me here are long dead. Their civilization turned to dust while I slept. I have waited 10,000 of your years for the seal to weaken enough for me to sense the outside universe again. The creature's body began to uncoil. Scales scraped against stone with a sound like thunder. Elena's display showed her energy readings that were completely impossible. This thing was putting out more power than a star. And now, Zalkathir continued, a small thing has come to witness my awakening. How fortunate for me. I will consume your energy first, then your planet, then your star. It has been so long since I have fed. Elena should have run. Every rational thought in her head told her to flee, to get to her ship, to warn Earth about what was coming. But something else stirred in her chest. It was the same thing that had driven humanity to reach for the stars in the first place. It was the same stubbornness that made humans refuse to accept impossible odds. She drew her plasma rifle. Zalkathir paused. Those golden eyes focused on the weapon with something that might have been curiosity. The voice in her mind carried a tone of amusement. You mean to fight me, little creature? With that toy? Elena activated her suit's combat systems. Her helmet's display filled with targeting data and power readings. She knew her weapon could not kill this thing. She knew she was probably going to die. But she also knew something else, something the ancient beast did not understand. I mean to try, she said. She fired. The plasma bolt struck Zalkathir directly in the eye. The creature roared, a sound that cracked the stone floor and sent Elena flying backward. She hit the ground hard, but her armor absorbed the impact. She was on her feet again in seconds, firing again and again. The beast's head whipped toward her, mouth opening to reveal teeth like obsidian mountains. Energy gathered in its throat, a sphere of darkness that hurt to look at. Elena knew that attack would vaporize her, but she did not stop shooting. She ran sideways, using her suit's boosters to stay ahead of the creature's movements. You dare? Zalkathir's voice was no longer amused. It was angry. You insignificant speck. You cannot harm me. Maybe not, Elena shouted back, but I can annoy you. She launched herself into the air, using her suit's full power to gain altitude. The beast's attack missed her by inches, carving a trench in the stone floor that glowed with residual heat. Elena landed on the creature's back and drove her combat knife into the gap between two scales. Zalkathir screamed. It was a sound of surprise more than pain, but it was enough. The ancient beast twisted, trying to throw her off, but Elena held on with strength born of desperation. She pulled a grenade from her belt and shoved it into the gap she had created. The explosion sent her flying again. This time, she did not get up as quickly. Her armor was damaged, warning lights flashing across her display. Blood ran from a cut on her forehead, dripping into her eyes. But she forced herself to stand, because that was what humans did. Zalkathir stared at her. The golden eyes held something new now. It was not fear. A creature this old and powerful did not know fear. But it was something close to respect. You hurt me, the beast said. You actually hurt me. No creature has done that in 1,000,000 years. Elena raised her rifle again. Her arms shook with exhaustion. I can do it again. The cavern fell silent. The ancient beast and the human woman faced each other across a distance that was nothing compared to the gap between their powers. Yet Elena did not back down. She stood there, broken and bleeding, and waited for the end. As Zalkathir lowered its massive head, those golden eyes studied her with new interest. What are you? The creature asked. What manner of being faces certain death without hesitation? What species produces warriors who fight when victory is impossible? Elena thought about her home. She thought about Earth's blue oceans and green forests. She thought about the billions of people who had never seen the stars, but dreamed about them anyway. She thought about her parents, her friends, the soldiers who had served under her command. We are humans, she said, and we never give up, not ever. Not even when the universe says we should. Zalkathir was quiet for a long moment. Then, slowly, impossibly, the ancient beast began to laugh. It was not the mocking laughter from before. This was something deeper, something almost joyful. "Humans," the creature repeated, "you are either the bravest species I have ever encountered, or the most foolish." "Perhaps both. Does it matter?" Elena asked. "No," Zalkathir admitted. "It does not. You have given me something I have not experienced in ages beyond counting. You have given me surprise. You have given me pain. You have reminded me that the universe still holds wonders I have not seen." The beast's body settled back onto the stone floor. The threatening energy faded from the air. Elena lowered her rifle slightly, though she did not put it away. "I will not consume your world, human Elena Vance. Not today. Perhaps not ever. I find myself curious about your species. What other impossible things will you attempt? What other ancient powers will you challenge with nothing but courage and primitive weapons?" Elena let out a breath she had not realized she was holding. "Is this a truce?" "It is a beginning," Zalkathir said. "I will sleep a while longer. When I wake again, I wish to see what your kind has become. If you continue to grow as you have grown, if you continue to face the darkness with such stubborn fire, then perhaps you will be worth preserving when the end of all things finally arrives." The golden eyes began to close. The cavern grew darker as the creature's energy dimmed. "Go now, little warrior. Tell your people that the Devourer of Suns has chosen to watch rather than consume. Tell them to never lose what you showed me today. That fire in your soul is worth more than all the stars I have devoured." Elena stood in the darkness for a long time after the ancient beast fell silent. Then she turned and began the long walk back to the surface. Her body ached, her armor was broken, and she had no idea how she was going to explain this in her report. But she was alive. Humanity was safe. And somewhere deep beneath an frozen moon, an ancient god had looked at a tiny human and decided that maybe, just maybe, this young species was worth keeping around. The Galactic Council would not believe her story. The other alien races would scoff at the idea that a human had faced an ancient cosmic entity and survived through sheer stubbornness. But Elena did not care what they thought. She knew the truth. Humanity had been tested against the oldest darkness in the universe, and humanity had not backed down. That was enough. That was everything. When Elena's ship broke atmosphere and headed for home, she allowed herself a small smile. Somewhere behind her, in the cold depths of an ancient cavern, a god was dreaming about the strange little creatures who refused to accept their own insignificance. And in that dream, humanity blazed like a beacon against the endless dark.